This is big breaking news. The U.S. military and the federal government has just authorized the use of, quote, deadly force. This is coming in response to these drones that we have been seeing flying over parts of New Jersey and New York. Let's get into the details here. Really quick, guys, please just hit that like and hit that subscribe. I'm posting every single day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news, and it just helps to get these warnings out. I appreciate that. So something is going on here. I want to know what you guys think, your theory on this situation, but they are now saying that they need to use, quote, deadly force to shoot down these drones, okay? And they have issued over 22 different NOTAMs have been issued by the FAA, and they are putting in place flight restrictions in New Jersey and New York. And this is happening over military bases, airports, Trump's golf course in Bedminster, and multiple different other areas have been deemed, quote, special security zones, and they have issued a ban flying these drones and flying over these areas until January 17th. And they are saying here that the U.S. government and the U.S. military is using, quote, deadly force to respond to these situations. It says, quote, the government may use deadly force against the drones if they pose, quote, an imminent security threat, according to multiple NOTAMs that have been listed on the FAA website. And it also says here, quote, pilots who fail to abide by those restrictions could be, quote, intercepted, detained, and interviewed by law enforcement security personnel. The FAA said also it could take administrative action, including imposing civil penalties and suspending or revoking operator certificates, as well as pursuing criminal charges. Okay, so the, quote, deadly force thing is kind of wild that they're doing this, because it's an unmanned aircraft. Okay, so for them to say they're using deadly force, it's kind of one of these things. Who is the deadly force being used on? Is it for the drones? But it seems like that's what the wording is here, and it's just the level of the response is going to be that much. And the FAA is going to be working in coordination with the U.S. military for these NOTAMs to be enforced, because most of them are primarily over U.S. military bases. One of them's over Picatinny Arsenal, Bedminster, New Jersey, where Trump's golf course is, Kearney, New Jersey, Hancock's Bridge, Clifton, New Jersey, Burlington, Bayonne, Winslow, Harrison, Elizabeth, Swarwin, Jersey City, Branbirch, South Brunswick, Edison, West Hampton, Gloucester City, Camden, North Brunswick Township, Cedar Grove, Bridgewater, Mitigation, Hamilton, and Evesham all have been issued NOTAMs until January 17, 2025. And they're saying that they could use, quote, deadly force to enforce these NOTAMs. All right, so pretty serious here, and quite a bit of a tone change as well, too. We've been being told for weeks and over a month now. All right, I first reported on when Picatinny Arsenal was swarmed the first time, and they deployed helicopters and military assets to monitor the situation here. And they've been telling us the whole time that it's really not a big deal, and there's no threat, and there's not an issue. But now they're saying that they need to use deadly force for these drones that are flying over these sensitive areas. They've also been certain areas, some critical infrastructure has also been marked as well too, it's saying, within these NOTAMs. All right, so they're potentially worried that bases, critical infrastructure, and airports could potentially be affected by this, or even targeted by this potentially. That's what they're saying. And if this is true, this is a very delayed response to a very serious threat. If it really needs deadly force to knock down these drones, and you would think that they would have anti-drone technology, okay? electronic disruption technology, jammers, okay, EMP-like technology, electromagnetic pulses to disrupt the electronics on these drones and to knock them out of the sky. That's normally the types of things that is used on a military grade. But they're saying that they need to use deadly force, so maybe even shooting these things, shooting missiles or shooting live rounds and live ammunition at these drones that are flying over these sensitive areas, because the normal jammers and signal blockers are not working. Sometimes they have technology where they can take over the drone, okay, where they jam its signal and replace its signal, take it over for the controller, and then they can just fly it back to wherever they want and capture the drone. All right, there's a lot of technology for this, and it seems like most of these things have not been working. And I think potentially that's some of what we've been seeing is countermeasures, like military drones deployed on top of these drones that maybe they don't know what they are, for these counter measures, right, against them, fighting against unknown or unidentified drones in these restricted areas. There's also more physical things like nets and things like that that they could use too, but for some reason they're saying that they need to use, quote, deadly force, and they're also saying they're going to come after drone operators as well too. This is what the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said. They said the restrictions were, quote, issued out of an abundance of caution, and, quote, we continue to assess that there is no public safety threat relating to the reported drone sightings, the spokesperson said in a statement Thursday. In coordination with the FAA, our critical infrastructure partners who requested temporary flight restrictions over their facilities out of abundance of a caution, the FAA has issued temporary flight restrictions over some critical infrastructure facilities in New Jersey. All right. And it says, following New Jersey's lead, on Thursday night, New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced federal partners in the FAA will also grant temporary flight restrictions over some of the state's critical infrastructure sites as well too. And she said, quote, the action is purely precautionary and there are no threats to these sites. Right? So they keep saying there's no threats, but then at the same time they're issuing NOTAMs and warnings and no-fly zones, and it's so serious they have to use, quote, deadly force. And it says the restrictions say no uncrewed aircraft systems can operate within a nautical mile of the airspace specified in each NOTAM, including from the ground up to 400 feet, and recreational drones are allowed to operate up to 400 feet under FAA rules. And it says the previously issued flight restrictions for Bedminster and Picatinny Arsenal remain in place as well too. Okay, so something's going on here, and there's a mixed messaging here, how it's nothing, and some of them are saying it's their drones, it's part of the military, which I think could be true. Some of them are, but I think maybe some of them aren't, because the military even shut down their airspace in Ohio at a military installation at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. They shut down their airspace just last week due to these unmanned aerial systems, these UASs, that's what they call them in the military. Okay, so that's what's going on here. There's some kind of mixed messaging going on, and we're still not being told the truth exactly what is happening. So please just hit it up for me down there to help get these warnings out. Let me know what you guys think down below of what you think is happening with these drones in this situation. Is this just a psyop and a distraction, or something more serious going on? I don't think they would go through all the trouble to issue these NOTAMs and flight restrictions, and they're even saying critical infrastructure partners are asking for these flight restrictions as well too over their critical infrastructure. So they're even worried about it as well too, that they could be surveilled or even maybe attacked or something along those lines. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared. Hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.